Okay, folks, here it is, the pillars of your business. Now, let's talk about what a pillar really is, right? So a pillar holds something up. So by definition, it's a tall vertical structure of stone, wood, metal, whatever, steel, for supporting a building, right? Or it's a person or a thing regarded as a reliably providing essential support for something, right? So a pillar of business is basically what's going to help you build your business, how your business gets built, what your business is built on. So if you remember when we talked about structure, we talked about footing and we talked about a foundation. That's what the mindset and the structure of the last couple of sessions we've talked about, right? So now we're going to talk about pillars. We're talking about the main pieces of your business. What is your business made of? What do I mean by that? Well, where's the freaking money coming from? Where are you going to get money for your business? That's the important part that you need to understand. So we have lead generation pillars. For me, there are 7 main ones, right? Those pillars, and this means where business comes from. Okay, so the SOI method, sphere of influence, circle of influence, COI, whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. It's the people that know you or the people you know. Now, we're going to get into them individually, but understand that this is where it all starts. It is the base of your business. For sale by owners, expired listings, withdrawn listings, social media, open houses, and circle prospecting. They're in an order for a reason. They're in an order where, in my opinion, not necessarily of importance, but as someone beginning or someone that needs to get business right away, that's why they're in this order. Sphere of influence is people you know. You can always call people. Hey, do you know anybody? But I don't like the way you prospect that way. That's why we have a special course just for the sphere of influence, right? For sale by owners, usually the low-hanging fruit that are easily changed over to listings. Expireds next, close to FSBOs. Withdrawns, we got to figure it out. Social media, plethora. Open houses, where the rubber meets the road. Circle prospecting puts it all together. Let's go through them one by one. With the sphere of influence, basically, there's 3 ways to do it. The old ways, the new ways, and the virtual ways, right? Up until this time last year, nobody wanted to play with me when it came to the virtual ways, right? Nobody wanted to do that. Everybody wanted to do it the old ways or the new ways, and then pandemic hit, and here we are. Oh shit, I better learn how to do things virtually. Well, we've been teaching that stuff for 5 years, 6 years. What is the sphere of influence? Well, it's everybody you know. It's your family, your friends, your acquaintances, your service people, past customers, current customers, and future customers. So quickly, if you notice, I spelled sphere wrong, and I just noticed that. I apologize for that. But anyway, I digress. See, we make mistakes, so we roll with it. So future customers, I mentioned just now. What's a future customer? A future customer is someone you haven't spoken to yet. However, they have one way or the other tried to connect. What does that mean? Okay, so when you get leads from the internet, from Zillow, from Realtor.com, from other sources, they're coming in, and it's usually, 90 to 95% you can't get in touch with, or 90 to 95% won't respond, or only 1 to 3% you can get on the phone, or 1 to 3% you can convert, right? You may get others on the phone and you may not, but 9 times out of 10, that's interesting, 9 times out of 10, you're not getting them on a phone, right? So the future customer is the one you have not spoken with yet that may connect with you if you are relevant to them in time. So they all go in your sphere of influence because they've connected with you one way or the other. When I'm talking about past customers, current customers, and future customers. Family, well, it's pretty simple. Friends, not as simple, because a lot of people you might say are your friends, but you really don't mean that. So let's think about what a friend really is. A friend is someone you can call to help you change a tire at 3 o'clock in the morning on a busy highway. That's a friend. A friend is someone that's going to bail you out of jail, right? That's a friend. Everybody else is an acquaintance. So your acquaintances are a huge group. If you can count friends on more than one hand, you are a special person, right? So next, there's your service people. I used to call this, and still do, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, to use that phrase, right? So if you take the alphabet and look, any service that you can think of with the alphabet, right? A could be, let's see, artist. A could be architect. B could be baker. B could be, I don't know, A could be artist, B could be baker, C could be car mechanic, A could be auto mechanic. However you look at it, your cleaners, C could be cleaners, and you go like that. There's a whole list in all the scripts that you have that go down these categories, because you want to communicate with these people, especially the service people, because you want to try to cross promote with them. You give them your list, I'll take their list, and vice versa, right? So that's how it would work. So the sphere of influence are going to be done the old ways, the new ways, the virtual ways. The old ways, snail mail, phone call, email. Yes, email is an old way because it's been around since the early 90s or before. The new ways, social, digitally, any way you can think digitally, video. The virtual ways, all video, mostly all video. You're going to communicate through Zoom. You're going to communicate in many, many, many ways. Wait, we got an interruption here. Understand that a lot of the information after the sphere of influence, or even for the sphere of influence, is going to depend on your lists. For everything else and before, it's going to be either you're going to trade time for money or money for time. What do I mean by that? It means that if you need information, like for instance, when you start putting your sphere of influence together, if you don't have their address, you're going to spend the time trying to get it. Like you might use zabasearch.com, White Pages, TruePeopleSearch.com, right? BenVerified.com. You might use those services. So that's going to be money for time. Other ways are going to be, well, we'll talk about them in a little while, but you're going to be going to the MLS for it, tax records, et cetera, et cetera. But you're talking about name, phone number, email address, important 3 pieces of information. I guarantee you're probably going to have their name if they're on your list. That would probably be important for sphere of influence. FSBOs. Why are they FSBOs? That's the first thing you got to figure out. The first thing you got to think about. What are you going to say to them? How will you act? It's really important to understand a for sale by owner, why they're for sale by owning, why they're selling it by themselves. It's a pillar of your business that you can actually talk to. You can actually talk to them, find out what they're selling. Yes, there's scripts for this too, but it's one of the main pillars. Next are expireds. Yep. Why did the listing expire? It's another question you can ask. See, when we said, why are they FSBOs? This can be part of your conversation, right? Because one of the things we want to build here with all of these pillars, and in all of these pillars, are relationships. Remember, the difference between making a contact and getting a contract is really simple. The difference is, in both those words, if you dissect those words, there's one letter that's different. It's an R. You need to build a relationship in the middle for the contact to the contract. You can't get a contract without a contact, and you can't get a contact without building some sort of relationship with that contact, right? So you need to build rapport. It also stands for rapport. And you're always going to build up because you want to know why they're FSBOs, why they're expireds. What are you going to say to them? How are you going to say it? Will you sound like everybody else? Is being an expired too sensitive of an issue for them? If they're going to start yelling at you, let them yell at you. You need to understand that they're upset. Their biggest investment probably ever did not sell. And they're panicking that maybe it's not worth what they think it's worth. And holy shit, am I going to be able to pay off my mortgage? Am I going to even get my money back that I put down for this thing? That's what's going to happen in a few years from this time. I guarantee it. Not as bad as 07, 08, 09, but it's not going to be a good thing unless things stabilize properly. We got to wait and see how our government handles it. But as far as expireds are concerned, you need to understand what they're doing, why they're doing, and maybe you can offer comparisons on what you've done before and what you haven't. Look, there's words you're going to have to use in all of your scripts for all of these 7 pillars. The words have to do with results and strategies. Those are 2 words you're going to need to use. Withdrawals. Why did they withdraw the listing from the market? Are they going to go FSBO? Was there an agent involved? And how was their agent doing it? Was there an agent issue with it? Was there a personal issue? Are they not moving? These are issues you're going to have to figure out and you're going to have to ask, right? So a lot of people really don't go after withdrawals. So it might be a little bit of a niche, but there probably aren't many of them, but you still have to go after them. And remember, when it comes to withdrawals, especially in the state of New Jersey, you can't go after anything that's not an unconditional withdrawn. A conditional withdrawn means they still have a contract with their agent. It might be a conditional withdrawn for a month. It might be temporarily off the market. You need to make sure you do that research, and that's going to be through MLS. Why did they withdraw the listing? Hey, hey, this is Dave Finale from eXp Realty. I saw that your listing's no longer on the market. What's going on? What was the reason for the withdrawal? And they can talk. It's one of the ways to go about it. Social media. Holy crap. This is the widest array of what you're going to do. What platforms are you going to use? Are you going to use Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, Snapchat, TikTok? I forgot LinkedIn. Very important. Clubhouse, right? Why would you use Clubhouse? Well, Clubhouse is a niche. Is to get people involved. You have to build your following there. So let's talk about what social media is actually going to do instead of talking about each individual platform. But I will tell you, you need to get really good on one so you can then go to the next. But the ones you're really going to be involved in to start are going to be Facebook and Instagram. There's a difference of opinion between generations when it comes to social media. Some generations are going to be more involved in Facebook and some in Instagram. Let's face it, Facebook is a lot easier to use for most people than Instagram is. And then there's YouTube and Twitter. Facebook is more of a conversation. Instagram is more of a billboard, right? Because you're going to put out your information through video and through image, right? And that's how you're going to get it out there. But there's so many different ways you can do it there through stories, IGTV, posting, etc. And your stories can be intertwined with Facebook as well as all your different video. And then you're talking about video, it all needs to be on YouTube and it all needs to be optimized, i.e. to monetization. Twitter, that's the news channel. That's your network news. Put your stuff out there. Put your information out there, whether it be video or posts. Find out who some influencers are in the news, maybe in the market, maybe in the real estate. Find out who's out there posting a lot on Twitter, who's tweeting a lot. Pinterest. Best way to use Pinterest is to set up boards and monetize it with keywords of what you title the boards. and with the addresses of your listings. Yes, each listing should have its own board on Pinterest. And we're going to come back to Clubhouse. Honestly, not a big fan of Clubhouse. I think it's more of a time waster than anything else. But as you can see, once it came out a few months ago, the use is a little bit less. There's a few less people on it, but it's being spread out as to how it's being used, right? So it's very important. With social media, it is a necessity. Now, I will tell you that there are a lot of real estate agents that don't utilize it who are doing very, very, very well. Well, honestly, they were doing well before this, and they were able to build it and keep going without it. Not sure that's going to continue to happen because everybody is going to social media to do stuff and to live. It's just something that people do. Now, I will tell you that no one has ever woken up in the morning and said, I'm going to go on Facebook this morning and find a house. Just not going to happen. Open houses. Yep. I used the word plethora, I think, earlier. You want to be different with your open houses. How do you bring it all together? What are you doing with your open house? How are you monetizing? How are you advertising? How are you marketing? Are you going to allow and make everybody sign in? Are you going to be completely and totally prepared? Well, you better be, right? Your scripts and dialogues. What are you going to say? How are you going to say it, right? So there's one of the things that I love saying at an open house when people would walk in, because no one says this, and it would be really simple. Hey, how are you doing? Thanks so much for coming in. I got a question I need to ask you though. Are you truly a buyer looking for a home? Because there's three types of people that come to open houses. Buyers that are truly serious, sellers that are doing research, and the third group, people that got nothing else to do. They like houses. Maybe they'll buy, maybe they just sell. Who knows? Which one are you? And you laugh a little bit as they come in. Now, you can only do this when you're not busy. But if you're doing open houses properly, you're going to be too busy to greet everybody that well. Hopefully, you've got another agent, a loan officer with you, and maybe a fourth person. If you're doing these correctly, like the dynamic results open house system that I use, you're going to be too busy to have a full conversation with anybody unless they show serious interest. But you need to be prepared for everything. As far as open houses go, you need to be different with them. You need to make them almost like a theme. Like maybe you do a twilight open house on a Friday night, a twilight happy hour open house with wine and cheese. Or maybe you do a barbecue on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon. Or maybe you do, a margarita open house. Something like that that's different, right? You want to be able to have people remember you, because in a few minutes, I'm going to tell you of a method that will bring more people to your open house. And lastly, the seventh pillar, which brings everything into play, is circle prospecting. Why is that such a big pillar? Well, number one, you're going to circle prospect around that open house. You're going to circle prospect around a new listing. You're going to circle prospect around a sale. Is it what it says it is? It is, but we're going to add something, right? To do it, what are you going to circle around, right? So let's think about this. So you'll circle prospect around an open house with phone calls. That's if you have the information. You'll circle prospect with door knocking. You'll circle prospect around a listing and a sale. So to circle prospect around a listing or a sale, the big guys that I have learned lately have been doing, that have had the best success, have been sending postcards or letters, dropping letters off at houses, and then calling, and then sending postcards out after that. It is an all-inclusive process, because let's face it, typically what happens with a listing and a sale on a street, something comes up on the market shortly thereafter in the area. Now, when we talk about circle prospecting, when we've got an open house, I want you to really listen to what I'm about to say, because if you do this every week for 3 months, you probably will be busier than anybody. But I'm telling you, I've told this to about 125 agents already. No one has taken me up on it. I don't know if anybody just doesn't want to spend the time or they don't believe it works, but I have proven it works. And here it is. You have an open house scheduled for. So today is Tuesday. You're getting a listing next Monday. So you do an open house the following Sunday, which is going to be the 21st of March. So what are we going to do? Right? I think it's the 21st, right? You're going to start planning that open house. So you set up the plan. It's going to be an open house with wine and cheese in the afternoon. Okay. So you're going to do this. You built the flyer. You're going to build a flyer. You're going to get a list of all the for sale by owners in the area, the expireds in the area, the withdrawals in the area. You're going to post on social media and call everyone in your sphere of influence. Here's how it goes. You're going to call everybody in your sphere of influence. You're going to invite them. Hey, it's Dave. How are you? I just, I've been really busy with my real estate business. Hope all is well with you. I just want to let you know, if you know anybody that's interested, I've got an open house I'm doing at a new listing down the street from in Hackensack. It's at 3 Main Street. So if you want to stop by, I'm going to be there. This is for your sphere of influence. For sale by owners, you call every for sale by owner in a 15-mile radius. In New Jersey, probably a 5-mile radius, depending on how many there are. Hey, this is Dave from eXp Realty. How are you? I saw you're trying to sell your home. I want to let you know that I've got an open house coming up over 3 Main Street in Hackensack this weekend on Sunday from 1 to 3. I'd love to have you come by. Oh, no, I'm not looking to get your listing. No, I thought you might want to take a look at, what other homes are selling for and what they look like. And you can actually get inside this one at the open house. Thanks so much. Expireds, same thing. I see your house didn't sell. I don't know if you're going to sell it or not. Again, go back on the market, but I thought you might want to take a look at a house that's on the market now and see what we're doing to sell it. Withdrawals, same thing. Social media, you're going to post pictures of the home on regular days, a picture of the bathroom. Hey, isn't this a great bathroom? Look at this. Imagine waking up in the morning. Well, you know what? Why don't you come and take a look at the house at my open house next week from 1 to 3 on Sunday, the 21st. And you're going to do that with pictures both on Instagram as well as Facebook. You're going to do stories at the house. You're going to do lives at the house. And you're going to do this 10 days subsequent before the open house. And of course, there's the open house where you're going to be there and talk to everybody. And then the circle prospecting, which is just around that house in and of itself, where if you don't have all the phone numbers, you'll be knocking on doors and you're going to invite them to an open house. So here's what you do for the neighborhood. You would do an open house an hour before the other open house and call it a private invitation open house. Everybody likes to be known, felt special. So you're going to invite them like they're going to be special. This is just for the neighbors between 12 and 1. We're going to have some extra stuff for you there. Come by, take a look at your neighbor's house, see how it compares to yours. Maybe someone might be looking for a home in your area and wants to live near you. You're going to knock on doors if you don't have the phone numbers. And if they're not home, you're going to leave a flyer. And then you'll follow it up with a phone call later on. So this is how you circle the pillars. Circle the wagons, circle the pillars. This is a process that if you did this every week, got to do an open house every week, you would be known by everybody as the guy that's so busy with open houses that when they decided to sell their home or they knew somebody, they'd say, I got to call that finale guy. He's busy all the time. I hope he can fit me in. And no, they won't think you're too busy. This is a method that works. You will be noticed by everybody in your area. And even the guy doing more business than you is going to wonder how people know about you. So that is circling the pillars. So we talked about time, money, and time before. How are you going to get the information for the for sale by owners, the expireds, the withdrawals, the circle for that matter, in the area, in the neighborhood? Well, you can do that through the MLS, which will have withdrawns, expireds. Some MLSs have for sale by owners. Also, you can get tax records through the MLS, or just go to tax records. You can go to Zillow at Make Me Moves. They have a for sale by owners section as well. Fizz Bonanza, fizzbonanza.com. Free FISBO leads. Now, some of them won't have phone numbers, but the information's there. Now, those are the free ones. Land Voice, the Red X, Espresso Agent, Vulcan 7. All of these will give you the expired info, for sale by owner info, withdrawns, and geographical information for circle prospecting. 3 of them, excluding Land Voice, have dialers, right? And then there's a last one, which is not up here, which is Mojo. Mojo will get you the list too, but it has a triple dialer. So you can use Mojo with all the other ones. Now, these are basically in order of price, where Land Voice is probably going to cost you anywhere from $100 to $200 a month. The Red X around $300 and change a month. Espresso Agent $350 a month, something like that. And Vulcan 7 about $600 and change a month. Along with the dialer from Mojo, that's another $100 a month probably. Look, this is money for time, right? Now just think, if you bought the information, that you would get all that time back that you were using to go search the information, right? So what's more important? And let's face it, right? By the way, Espresso Agent is Vulcan 7 Lite. It's the same company, right? So, but the important part to understand is, even at $650 or whatever it is a month, if you were able to get one transaction from them a month, $650, and you can make $7,000, that's 10 to 1. For $6,000, for $7,000, for $650, I'm spending that $650 every month. Easy. Every week, for that matter, if I had to. 10,000 for 1,000, 10,000 for 600, 7,000 for 600, depending on where you at, what the return on that investment is. This is where you have to look like an investor. Because let's face it, Land Voice, the Red X, Espresso Agent, Vulcan 7, Mojo, there's an investment involved, not a cost. So here's the thing you have to look at, right? And I'm going to assign this to types of agents. Agents making less than 100,000 or a little bit over 100,000 are worried about what these things are going to cost. The agents making a lot more will decide and figure out how much value and how much money they can make from it. There's a different mindset involved. So I ask you to change your mindset to, what can I make from it, rather than what it's going to cost you, right? That's the fast start. The fast start is taking all of these and circling the pillars, right? You take all of these, this is how you get going. Now, how do you also get a fast start? You learn about what to say. That is something we're going to talk about over the next few weeks, about what to say, how to say it. We're going to go into scripts and dialogues a bit next week, and we're going to go through a lot of different things, right? We're going to talk about some scripts. We're going to talk about how to answer objections. But what I'm going to tell you right now is, the fast start is the invitation script that I gave you already in this session, about doing the open houses. Okay, so wait a minute. You don't have listings to do open houses with. Well, start dialing your colleagues and ask them if you can do an open house. Go to the New Jersey State Workplace page and ask if you can do open houses. There's an open house page as well. Ask if anybody there needs you to do an open house for them. Don't worry about the area. Just keep going out. Just keep doing it. Just keep asking everybody all the time. Hey, you got a listing I can do an open house with? Get to be friendly with the people in your area. Get to know agents. If they're not EXP agents, get to know them. If there's a networking event, even a Zoom event, go to it. This is what's important about going to all these events is you need to meet agents. You need to get friendly with agents, right? It's a business thing. Look, as time starts changing, as we reach herd immunity, which is something called when 75% have been vaccinated, we're going to be able to go out there and start doing these events again. So what I suggest you do is start connecting with agents. If you've had a deal with somebody, call them up, ask them how they're doing. If you haven't had a deal with them, but you had a showing, call them up and ask them how it went. Start communicating and start building relationships with other agents. If you do a showing, call up the agent right afterwards. Thank them so much for allowing you into that showing. Say, hey, thanks so much for making it so easy to show that house. How's it going there? What kind of offers are you getting? Now, my people aren't going to be interested, but we really like the house. Compliment them. Because listen, someday you might run into them again. And if you don't, if somebody asks them about you, they're going to say, oh, yeah, that's a really nice guy. That's a really nice person. That's a really nice woman. So always keep your relationships up to par. You see, the other category I didn't put in here were other agents for referrals. Maybe they can't handle something or they got other things to do. That's where it comes in that you've built a rapport and you've built a relationship. Everything I've gone through today needs a process and a system. The circling the pillars is both a system and a process, and you need tools for this. The tools are where you're getting the information. The system is the phone calls. The process is everything together. It's the open house, it's the calls, it's the invitation, it's the flyer that you build. It's all going to be out there. It's a process and a system all in one. So remember, you want to schedule that open house 7 to 10 days in advance, and you want to build upon it. Now, suppose you find out on Monday for an open house on Saturday or Sunday. You can still do it. You've just got to pick up the pace. Look, making these calls, depending on how it all works out, might take you all week, right? Here's the thing. With the calls, number one, you're not going to get everybody on a phone. You're probably get 90% off, leave voicemail, right? That's when you're going to send a video text, right? You're going to send a video text, calling them, video texting them, telling them, inviting them to the open house. That's what you're going to do. And this way, they've actually put a face to your name. What is AOD? This is called being a little bit different. It's the art of differentiation. Talking all about different ways of doing different things, right? It's really important for you to do the different ways that we've talked about. It's important for you to understand the scripts and dialogues. I've given you a simple script on how to invite people.